Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Welcome to Motivational Mondays. We'll get started here in a second. I got two screens going. We got Instagram, we got YouTube. Welcome to Motivational Mondays. Let me know what city y'all are chiming in from. Drop your business name. Motivational Mondays. And I'm actually going to go in a little bit. America, Happy New Year 2024. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about. I posted a YouTube video a couple days ago. We got Dallas, Texas in the house. New York is always in the building. The DMV is here. New York, what up? What up? Mobile, Alabama, live from New Hampshire. Okay, welcome, welcome. So I posted a video last week and I've been getting a lot of questions. We got Chicago in the building. LA is always here, the Carolinas. When you putting out another book? I'm actually working on a book right now on business credit. And I'm working on a title and it's in the final stages of edits. So I am working on that. So I, I did a video last week. And for today on Motivational Mondays, somebody asked me to go a little bit deeper into my story. They wanted to know, how did I make it in Las Vegas in 2005 with $500? They want to ask, how did I make it with $500? They want to know, how did Will Roundtree make it off of $500? But before I go into that, I'm starting to see a trend that's going on right now. Your story, it motivated me. I was really down bad and made it. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm starting to see a trend. A lot of entrepreneurs are going broke. A lot of entrepreneurs are going broke. And here's what I'm saying. A lot of entrepreneurs are going and putting themselves in these financial situations. But here's what I'm seeing. I think a lot about the Airbnb and Toro lanes are closing. They are. They are. But it's not because of those things. Yes, they have something to do with it. But here's the reality of business. We have to, you have to know that in business, there's going to be ups and downs. And I think a lot of the times people go into business assuming that they're always going to be up. And that's not real life, especially if you lack a foundation of a business. And for most people who got into these like pandemic hustles, there was no type of foundation. So you really didn't have a business. Yes, you were an entrepreneur, you had a side hustle, but if there's not a way to scale, you put yourself in a position to where, as a business, if one thing goes wrong, how do you hedge yourself out of your hole? How do you hedge yourself out of your financial hole? Business works in cycles, just like banks do. This is basic economics. That's why I love your lives, bro. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Because these are the things nobody ever talks about, nobody ever thinks about. See, when I talk about business, when I talk about real estate, peace, Brian, what's going on, man? Hey, we got to connect this week too, B. I often talk about, how do you hedge your investment? Okay, so let's talk about the Airbnb game or the Airbnb model. Not saying it's a bad model, not saying people didn't make any money, but people are losing money right now in the Airbnb arbitrage. And here's why. Okay. So, for example, let's say you go out and you lease an apartment. I'm going to talk to you about how to hedge your investments right now, Katina. Okay. So let's say you go in and you lease an apartment. Okay. You didn't buy the place, you're leasing it because you're going to arbitrage that unit, meaning you're going to lease an apartment and then release it out to people to make money. Okay. Now, here's what here's how people lose money in the arbitrage space. Okay. Now, let's say it cost you $20,000 to stage this place. Okay. Somebody type that in the chat. Let's say it cost you $20,000 to stage this unit that you went out and got a lease for. Okay. If you're just joining in, welcome to Motivational Mondays, where I'm gonna be, talking just about various topics. You can ask questions about credit, business, real estate, whatever you have a question about for me. But I'm also going to talk a little bit more about my journey. Somebody asked me in a YouTube video, how did I make it in Las Vegas off of $500 in 2005? And I'm going to talk about that here today as well. Sir, love Motivational Mondays. I keep trying to join your program, but to no avail. Sean, I can almost guarantee you didn't send me a direct message. If you send me a direct message, we will have somebody contact you. And I appreciate that you love the Motivational Monday topic. So $20,000, that's your all-in cost for staging, for marketing, for travel. Okay, send me a message right now. I will have somebody reach out to you. I got you, Sean. So $20,000 all in for this unit. Here's what ends up happening. Let's say they make a change in the lease. Let's say HOA no longer allows Airbnb. Let's say, like, for whatever, anything can change. I just spoke with somebody last week out of New York getting sued for $70,000 because Airbnb was outlawed where he's at and he tried to still do it under the table. Let me tell y'all something. When it comes to housing, when it comes to these type of things, I want you guys, here's something that they're not telling you in these Airbnb courses. Okay? There's a lot of money in lobbyists in these conglomerates. If you don't know what a lobbyist is an organization of people that pay to get their bills heard, to pay to get legislation passed. Just like out here in Vegas, there were people who said, I know they outlawed Airbnb, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because how can they find out? Well, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars. These hotels spend hundreds of millions of dollars, lobbyist dollars, because the hotels run Las Vegas. The hotel economy runs Las Vegas. So do you think that your $20,000 Airbnb unit can sustain and go up against a group of lobbyists that spend hundreds of millions of dollars to get bills and laws passed? Because the economy is ran by the casinos here in Las Vegas. So there were people who were getting fined because they didn't think that nobody would find out that they were doing Airbnb. So I have a client in New York getting sued for over $70,000 in fines because he thought he was above the lobbyists who wanted to get Airbnb banned out of New York. So you spent $20,000 for this arbitrage, for marketing, for staging, for the leases. You pay the first month, last month, security deposit, pet fee, painting fee. You pay $20,000. HOA makes one change. How do you get your $20,000 back? That's a question. Remember, you're already 20 in a hole. So are you going to go get another Airbnb and put another $20,000 up? See, here's the thing, and Andrew and I talk about this often when he hops on here, because we don't understand what economics are. Economics has nothing to do with going to make money. Economics is how money works. And so when you put $20,000 out there, and how do you pay the 20,000 back to the bank as well? Whether it came from the bank or whether it came out of your bank account. You put $20,000 up for this Airbnb arbitrage. They change the rules. You have to shut it down. How do you make your money back? How do you make your money back? And you can't. You can't. And here's what ends, but here's what these individuals are doing. They're quitting. How do you pivot, Katina? How do you pivot? Yes, you can pivot, but how? Because let me tell you what most people in these situations have been doing, which is why entrepreneurs are going broke left and right. They've quit their job. Most people and entrepreneurs don't want to work. People really think that business. Here's the thing that you have to understand about the economics of business. There's a reason why the statistic is 9 out of 10 businesses fail. And I know for a fact because I've been working with small businesses for the past 15 years. Most people who own a business don't know what money is. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Here's what I mean. Take the average person who works in corporate America. Okay, take the average person who works in corporate America. If they get an extra $300 on their paycheck, you can't tell them nothing. They may not even go back to work that day because they're like, oh man, $300, like $300 is a lot of money to the average person. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people have been spoiled in the past 3 years because money has been flowing. That money ain't out here like that no more. But for the average person, get an extra $300 on your paycheck. You can't tell them nothing. I'm going to tell you exactly what they're going to say. Oh, I got extra money. No, it is not extra money because you still have $300 of bills that you couldn't pay probably the pay period before. So now, why did I say that? I said that because the average person who starts a business, if they made an extra $1,000 a month, that's a lot of money. Let me say that again. The average person who starts a business, if they make an extra $1,000, that's a lot of money. And so what ends up happening is that a brand new entrepreneur gets caught into what's called an up the upside of a business cycle, thinking that they hit it big because they made an extra $1,000. I know people who were quitting their jobs because after all of the debt servicing, they were making an extra $1,500 on Airbnb. Let me say that again. There were people quitting their jobs because they made an extra $1,500 on Airbnb. And then they tried to go out and buy some cars, put them on Toro, and not accounting for all of the expenses and the maintenance. They just saw what the gross number is. And this is why we have to know economics, because most people confuse gross with net. Okay, I'm talking about why entrepreneurs are going broke right now. And so going back to the Airbnb arbitrage, put 20,000 into this unit. They changed the laws. Now you're stuck. How do you pay that 20,000 back? And for the average person, you can't, because you don't quit your job. Or let's say you are working a 9 to 5, your regular income is barely covering your regular expenses. So how do you go and service the debt on an additional 20,000 that you just lost? So now let me tell you why This is the reason why I did not jump into the arbitrage industry, because it's not a sustainable model for the long term. I buy, I invest in things for the long term, even in the stocks. When I buy stocks, I'm not buying a stock for it to try to hit next week. I didn't, everybody is looking for the next GameStop. That may never happen again in our lifetime. See, so when I buy a piece of real estate, it helps me to hedge my money, because let's say you put $20,000 up to get into a property that's $100,000. Okay, because you got to bring 20% to the table. If something happens with that property, worst case scenario, I could at least sell the property to break even to get my money back. But if I do an arbitrage because there's no asset in place, I'm out of $20,000. And this, and see, and because most people don't know what an asset is, this is why they jump into these fads of entrepreneurship, which is why a lot of entrepreneurs are going broke right now. The rental car game. You're investing in depreciating assets that barely service the debt, when you can go out and get 10 smart cars for 60,000 and have more success than trying to get three Mercedes Benz, like a Tesla. Like, the average person who rents a car is not renting for pleasure, they're renting for convenience. See, a lot of people were buying things because they wanted to do things how they view it. As a, that's not how business works. When I'm putting together uh, things and products and certain, like, it's not what Will Roundtree would want out of my business. I survey my clientele and I put things accordingly to what my clientele wants. See, if I was into merch and I built a brand in the merchandise industry, and I said, you know what? I really love polka dots, but nobody else like polka dots. If I put out clothing with polka dots and polka dots is not in, I just wasted my money. But because I didn't survey with the general public or who my audience is, this is how a lot of people run their business. And this is why entrepreneurs are going broke right now. They're doing things based upon on how they want to do it, not catering to what your mass audience is. See, somebody also asked me, Will, why do you buy properties in C class neighborhoods, in D class neighborhoods? Yeah, this is fifth grade math, really. I'm gonna tell you why I buy properties in C and D class neighborhoods. Okay. Nobody's probably ever put this to, never, no, the average person has probably never put it in this magnitude. Okay. So now, if we know that the average household makes $30,000 to $45,000 a year, somebody write that down. If the average household, if the average household income is $30,000 to $45,000 a year, okay, why would I go and buy a bunch of $500,000 homes to try to rent them out when that's not the majority of the audience? See, I position myself to get in front of the largest audience. And if the largest audience are people who have to have somewhere to live anyway, and their average income is between 30 to 45,000, that's the audience who I choose to service. If I'm buying an apartment building, I'm going to buy apartment buildings that can service the largest audience, which would put me in the best position to get my return on investment quicker. That's what's called the velocity of money. See, I don't play the guessing game when it comes to my investments. I put myself in position to be able to get my money back as fast as I can, but then I do my best to make sure that I hedge my money. So if anything goes wrong, I at least have an investment to where I can at least break even off of this investment. So I survey the marketplace and I want to play where I have the largest audience. Why would I want to go and play in a market where the audience is less than 10% of the population? Told us last week to have one strategy to fix this year. Why would I go buy $500,000 houses when the top 5% of income earners is $191,000? And so I don't want to play where I only have a 10% net, meaning a net of an audience. I want to play where I have a target audience of 90% of an audience base. So I have more opportunities. And when you think about follow the money, obviously this is what Wall Street has figured out. So this is why in the past 18 months Wall Street has bought up 43% of single family homes in residential neighborhoods. Not the $500,000 in A and B C, and not in A and B neighborhoods. They're in the C, D, and F neighborhoods because that's the largest audience pool. And so now you put yourself in a position to where every single deal you invest in, your money is always hedged, because when you get into the deal the right way, it's almost impossible for you to lose in real estate. But if I'm buying $500,000 properties and then I got to put another $300,000 in there, so now I'm 800,000 in trying to sell to somebody who's going to be willing to pay $1 million. Now I've shrunken my pool even smaller to go after the 3% crowd, maybe one. Because do you know what your income has to be to buy $1 million property? No, I want to play where I have the largest net of an audience. And nobody thinks about that when it comes to business or investing. We buy because we think it's a flex to say, oh, I flip $1 million homes. Well, who's your audience? Who's your target audience? When I know I could get this, well, I'm not even trying to get the property off because I'm holding everything. I'm holding everything. And even if I have a vacancy, my debt servicing is so low, I can eat that cost. I'm buying people properties left and right, 40 cents on the dollar, because they over leveraged themselves and can't afford the debt servicing because they ran out of money. Yeah, it's people like me who gonna come in and buy your property 37 cents on the dollar. How much money is that property is making you? Or how much money? Yeah. And I'm looking at how much the money the property making me. But it's always going to debt service when you buy it the right way. I'm not buying a property that I want to live in. I'm surveying the market and seeing what the marketplace is looking for, and then I'm getting properties to service the majority of the market in that particular area. This is economics 101, y'all. This is economics 101. I wish I could make it more difficult. I wish I could say it a little bit prettier for you. I wish I could make it more complicated, but people make it more complicated. Any of your purchase any you're purchasing the property under market value. Well, when you purchase the right way, it don't matter if it's market or under market value. 37 cents on a dollar means for every dollar. So if that property sold for $1, I bought it for 37 cents. Excuse me, if the property is worth $1, I paid 37 cents. That's what that means. I'm buying it pennies on the dollar. How would you pull out minimum equity without jumping through a bunch of hoops? My question to you would be, what's the purpose of you pulling out the equity? And here's the thing you have to realize. If you got to jump through a bunch of hoops to pull out equity, then that means the property probably doesn't have any equity. But here's the thing that I'm also noticing. Tell them, Brian, tell them to join REI 90. They'll learn. Here's the thing. Here's the other thing that we have that I need you guys to also understand. See, a lot of people are buying houses and trying to get rich off of the equity draw immediately. You may have to hold that property for 2 years. Now, if you're having a hard time getting equity, I don't know what your situation is. Your credit may not be right. You know, if you're trying to refinance it under your personal name, maybe you don't have enough. Maybe your debt to income ratio is too high. I don't know your situation, because I've yet to have a property that has 100,000 worth of equity where I got to jump through hoops. I don't know who's advising you. You can book a call and I can walk you through the process. Yeah, my people gonna tell you got to book a call for that. I know turnkey properties are good, but what do you think about fix and holds? A fix and hold can make sense, but it depends on what the numbers are. See, I think a lot of the times we get too caught up in the mechanics. We just have to look at what is the best deal to get you the best return. We got to look at what's the best deal to get you the best return. And so, yeah, sometimes people are looking to chase the equity too soon. Here's the thing we have to learn. And I'm going to ask you guys this question. Are you getting into real estate to quit your job, or are you getting into real estate to build a net worth? Are you getting into real estate to quit your job, or are you getting into real estate to build a net worth? Because anytime somebody tell me, "Oh, I'm trying to get into real estate so I can leave my 9 to 5," you're setting yourself up for disaster. Now, I'm not saying it can't happen, but the odds on that happening when you think it's going to happen, it's not going to happen, because you have to build cash flow that can exceed your regular expenses 3 times. Because most people get into real estate thinking it's a get rich overnight thing. That is not the case. I know people who did one real estate flip, made $60,000 and quit their job. And then didn't pay the taxes on the 60,000, forgot that they didn't pay didn't think about realtor fees, didn't like that 60,000 and shrunk to 22, and now you got to live off of 22,000, and and you got to find another deal. You out of money. This is why entrepreneurs are going broke. I did the pre-qualifying with Capwell. Good stuff. This is why entrepreneurs are going broke. You got to hedge your money. This is what I teach in the REI 90. See, 2024, I'm not giving away all of the free game anymore. You don't work for free. Your, your coworkers don't work for free. Will Roundtree is not working for free. I got people who've invested their last dollar to learn these strategies and have changed their entire life because they believed in the concepts that I teach. And something I posted today is that as entrepreneurs, you have to stop making your prices to accommodate people who aren't going to support you long term anyway. Meaning, people will get mad at you because they can't afford you. Well, then you're not their client. Like I don't you can't call my office and will and deal my prices. I'm not in business to accommodate somebody who doesn't see value. I'm not in business to accommodate broke-minded people. I'm sorry. And I highly suggest that you guys start thinking the exact same way. Look, I can sit here and talk about the comparisons. You don't try to price match with Gucci. You don't price match. Like, look, in business, the reason I've been able to elevate, the reason I've been able to ascend, the reason I've been able to scale, the reason I've been able to position myself is because I don't conform to being at the bottom. I don't conform to being at the bottom. And when you try to position your prices so everybody can afford you, I promise you, you will not be in business long. I promise you, you will not be in business long. And I'm not saying that you have to be the most expensive. And I'm not saying you should raise your price every year. Again, you let the market dictate that. See, I know my value. We turned down 3 people today because they were like, oh, well, I don't want to pay that. Well, you don't have to. I'm not in business to accommodate people who are not willing to see the value. And then I said, hey, I can recommend you to 3 people who will do it for a fraction of what I do it for. Well, no, Will, I want to work with you. Well, this is what it costs to work with me. This is what it costs. And I'll leave the internet before I discount myself out of business. Because keep in mind, and again, this is Motivational Mondays. I'm talking to you, to all of you entrepreneurs, all of you real estate investors who are aspiring to grow and be better and take yourself out of these financial ruts. Because right now, a lot of entrepreneurs are going broke. You have to like even going back to the Cat Williams interview, he turned down a certain amount of money to finance his own special. So now he doesn't have to play the politic games of Hollywood. I've turned down partnerships where they were like, hey, let's partner together and we're gonna make X amount of money. But my integrity wouldn't let me play the games that some of the people wanted to play. I've turned down sponsorships. I've turned down opportunities that the average person would have been like, man, you crazy. I left a partnership that did not suit my the way I wanted to do business, where it was guaranteed money, but it was because I was willing to bet on Will Roundtree. I don't I can only bet on me. I can only bet on me. And let me tell y'all something. I've never lost when I bet on Will Roundtree, and that's why I'm here today. I never lost, which goes into someone asked me on YouTube, how did I make it in Vegas off of $500? So let me tell you guys this story. So I got about 20 minutes. So I moved to Vegas. I borrowed $500. Okay. Well, I didn't borrow it. My mentor at the time gave me $500 to move to Las Vegas. Now, in 2005, whether it's 2024 or 2005, $500 is not a lot of money. But what it did was, he said, Will, my job is not to finance your life in Vegas. My job is just to make sure you get to Vegas. So this $500 is for you to just get there. You got to figure it out on your own from there. Okay. And so when I moved to Las Vegas, prior to moving out here, I was in this network marketing company. And inside that network marketing company, I had met some individuals, and I had ended up befriending a gentleman who was a part of the organization. And he actually allowed me to come and stay and sleep in one of his bedrooms. Okay. So it was him, it was his family pretty much. They had a 2 bedroom house out in Summerlin, and his son at the time may have been like 5. He allowed me to sleep in his son's room, and so here I am, 26 years old, sleeping in his son race car bed. It was a little bed, and so I'm 26 sleeping in the son's bedroom. The son ended up just sleeping in the room with his parents. Now, I moved out here on October 5th, and I knew $500 wasn't going to last long. And so what I did was I said, you know what? I want to at least make sure I have some food for at least about a week or two, because that will at least give me enough time to say, hey, let me figure this out. Because keep in mind, I moved to Las Vegas. I knew no one, no family, no friends. This wasn't really my friend. This was somebody who was a part of this network marketing organization who I met in September prior to moving out there. Okay. And so I went to the 99-cent store and I bought a bunch of top ramen noodles. Okay, you can get 10 for like 10 for like $10. I forgot how much it was. So I bought the cup of noodles. I bought a bunch of cup of noodles. I bought some fruit like bananas and pear. This was at the 99-cent store. I don't know if they have a 99-cent store where you live, but out here, the 99-cent store, the 99-cent store sold food and fruit. So I bought a bunch of cups of noodles. I bought some fruit. Um, I didn't buy any meats because I didn't want to necessarily cook and use their pots and pans. So I bought all things that I can make very quickly. Some TV dinners. So I spent maybe about $50 to get me enough food for about 2-3 weeks. So I had another $300. Now, my cell phone plan, I was actually on one of my friends' cell phone plan. When I moved out to Vegas, I had a Milwaukee phone number, a 414 area code number. And at the time, I was trying to make money. This is actually perfect for you guys for why entrepreneurs go broke. So I moved to Vegas. I had no money. I borrowed the $500. I bought top ramen and fruit and all of that stuff. And so I had about $300 left over. And I was still a part of this network marketing organization. And I caught myself trying to be full time in this network marketing company. I'm calling myself an entrepreneur. This is in 2005. And I didn't go get a job right away. So now here's what happens when you don't go get a job right away. This is for you entrepreneurs who made a couple dollars and you decided to quit your job because you didn't know that you're not going to always be up in entrepreneurship, especially if you don't have a company. You don't have any products or services. You just hustling. So I'm selling legal plans. And I'm like, man, for every legal plan, I'll make X amount of dollars. And so I got it all calculated. It never works that way. It never works that way. The dollars that you've calculated that you think you're going to make to be able to sustain, it never works that way. And so, mind you, that additional $300 didn't last. I couldn't afford to pay my man, my guy who put me on his cell phone plan. Shout out to my brother in Milwaukee, Justice Grant. He put me on his cell phone plan. I was with Sprint. I couldn't afford to make the payments, so he had to shut my phone services off. Couldn't afford to make the payments, so he shut my phone services off. So I'm in Vegas. I'm sleeping and renting this room out. I have no job and I'm trying to be an entrepreneur. I don't, and I'm pretty much running out of money. Not B Justice, that's my nephew. His name is Justice Grant. If you go through my Instagram friend followers, his name is Walking Dolphin. It's my brother out in Milwaukee. All true stories. Okay. My mentor who loaned me the 500 bucks was John Malott. Go tag him. You can fact check me. Please do so, because I don't want nobody to say I'm capping. Go tag John Malott, one of the most successful entrepreneurs and has one of the biggest uh, companies in North America. This is the tutelage I came up under. Okay, so I'm out of money. My cell phone, I don't have a cell phone, so I'm emailing my parents from the house that I'm living in, and so to be able to afford my stay, I'm about 3 weeks in. I'm like cleaning up around the house. I don't have a car. I don't have a car, you guys. So I'm cleaning up around the house. I'm doing anything that they ask me to do. Cleaning up the cat litter because they had a cat. Like, I'm walking on pins and needles. I'm 26 years old. I'm sleeping in in their son's baby bed. He was like 6 or 7, 5 to 7, somewhere around there. I'm sleeping in his room in his bed. Uh, uh, you know, and I'm running out of money. I don't have a cell phone. I don't have a job. I don't have a car. So I share this story because I know this is a lot of you guys on here stories right now. And I had to come to a realization where it was like, I have to get some income. I have to get some income. And so what I decided to do, so I went and went online at the time and just started applying anywhere. I got out of my ego. I said, you know what? I just have to get a job. This entrepreneurship isn't working. I don't have a cell phone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so eventually I found a job at Expedia. I found a job at Expedia where I worked for their cruise basically where people will call in and exchange their credit card points to book vacations. This is when Expedia was starting to get really big, and they were one of the only companies that you can book like a full vacation package outside of having what is that called? A travel specialist or whatever it's called. So people would use points, and I don't even know if it was from credit cards. I don't know. This was in 2005. Okay, I moved to Vegas in October 5th, 2005. I started working at Expedia like around November, Decemberish. Okay, at this time, you was a small. I don't know what that says, Brian Keith. I'm not sure what that says. Okay, so I start working at Expedia. I don't even remember how much I was making, but while I was there, I was essentially getting a ride from the guy who I was staying with. His name was Kyle Sprague. You guys can go and fact check and look these people up. His name was Kyle Sprague. I was staying at their house, and he essentially was dropping me off at work. And so at the time, back in 2006, still 2005, going into 2006, that I used to see these commercials that would come on television. My mind instantly thought Experian. No, Expedia, the travel company, Expedia. I didn't know anything about credit in 2005 back then. Okay, so there used to be there were these commercials that would come on by, if anybody in Las Vegas is familiar with Chopper, the Chopper, Tobin Dodge. Shout out to Chop if you watch this, or if you somebody at you on this. Shout out to my brother Chopper. I didn't know him at the time, but I used to watch his commercials where his family is one of the most successful owners of car dealerships out here. They got, Tobin Dodge, Tobin Bentley, Tobin Ferrari. Shout out to Chop, good friend of mine. And I used to watch his commercials, and he used to have like unbelievable prices. And how his commercials would work is they would drive a vehicle out and they would say, "We got a 2001 Buick Grand Prix going for $15,000." And then he would say, "Chop that. Okay, so we're going to sell this car for $75.99." So essentially, his whole marketing campaign is whatever they advertised the automobile price at, they would chop it, and that's what they would sell the car for. So you were thinking you were getting like this unbelievable deal. For anybody who's from Vegas, they'll tell you incredible marketing. But Chop had the best commercials. And they were like, "We'll work with anybody, no matter what your credit score is. If you don't have a job, if you don't got this, just come on down. Let's get you pre-approved." Da, 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 da. And so I went down to the dealership. Now, mind you, I'm like 2 weeks in on my job. I don't even think I had got my first paycheck. But I'm betting on Will Roundtree. I'm walking on faith. I've been watching these commercials from Chop. I'm praying I can get a vehicle. I'm praying I can get a vehicle. All right. I'm praying. And so I go down to the dealership. I didn't get approved from Chop. I didn't get the approval for him. But there was a Nissan dealership where eventually I landed and was able to go over to the Nissan dealership. Went to the Nissan dealership, and let me tell y'all something. I was able to get, and so here's how I learned the car industry. If you don't know your stuff, it will put you in a bad place financially. They let me buy because it's easier to get a brand new car than a used vehicle. And here's why. Because the banks can wash the negative equity more in a new vehicle than in a brand new vehicle. So for those of you who got bad credit and the dealership let you get a new vehicle, they didn't do you a favor. They were able to wash all of your bad creditness into this new vehicle, and you're going to be paying on that new vehicle till kingdom come. You will never get out of that loan. So they let me drive off of the lot, like Andrew said, upside down. I didn't have insurance. I bought a brand new 2006 Nissan Altima. It was silver. It didn't have any features. The only thing I could do is roll the windows down electronically. I don't think it had anything else. It didn't have anything else. And let me tell you, so here I am. I'm a few months into Las Vegas. I'm probably a week away from getting my first paycheck from Expedia. I'm out of money. My credit is bad. I just drove off the lot with a brand new vehicle. In Milwaukee, the only state your company invests in. For me, because that's where I seem to get the best value. And so now, here's the thing I didn't account for when buying a new vehicle in a state that doesn't have state taxes. They make the money up in other areas. And one of those areas is car registration. And so, because Nevada doesn't have a state tax, you pay a car registration based off of the MSRP of the vehicle. So, I don't know if you guys saw where I showed you guys how much it cost for me to register my G Wagon. It was like $2,300. because it goes based off of the MSRP and then the price lowers every single year. So when I bought this Nissan Altima, not even the Maximum, the Altima, it was brand new though. The car registration was like $500. Now, mind you, I couldn't afford it. The car payment was like 400 and some change, probably more than that. I don't even remember. It may have been close to $600. The reason I don't remember it is because I never made a payment. I didn't have insurance. They wasn't even supposed to let me drive it off of the lot. So here I am, brand new car. I'm renting a room out. I'm barely making money at Expedia. I couldn't afford to register my car, couldn't afford to make the payment. So I'm driving around on temporary plates. Never made a car payment. Started working at Expedia and eventually got fired. Now, eventually I found another job, but because I'm still operating at a deficit, me getting another job still doesn't solve all of my other problems because I never addressed what my problems were. I just kept piling shit on top of shit. This is how a lot of people live their life. And I'm gonna prove to you guys. I got my old credit report from 2011 where I'm gonna show you the Nissan that went into repo status. I got receipts for everything I'm telling y'all because I want you guys to know how hard I had to work to get to where I am today because I was willing to bet on Will Roundtree. See, it wasn't no social media in 2006. There wasn't no credit gurus. There were no credit conventions. There were no festivals I can go to. This is all self-taught. But I was able to self-teach because I was willing to go through the things that put me in circumstances that forced me to learn how to be better. See, a lot of people on here, like Kane mentioned, I was talking with Kane and she said, a lot of people will never get to the next level because they want to avoid the pain it takes to advance. See, I was willing to go through the pain of all of those things. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't scared of lowering my ego to go get another job. When I got fired at Expedia, I went and found another job. At one point I was working at a call center making $8 an hour called Realty Times. If anybody on here worked with me from back then, fact check it. It was a company off of Flamingo in Durango called Realty Times, where we sold advertising to realtors based upon market conditions. These are all true stories. And I found the job in the newspaper. It paid $8 an hour, but I didn't go there for the $8 an hour. I went there because of the potential that I can make in commissions. I went because of the potential I could make in commissions. Again, betting on myself. I bet on myself. Let me see if I can find this repo from this. Oh, here it go right here. Nissan, and it's probably in inverted. It's highlighted. Nissan motor acceptance vehicle. $23,000. I'm gonna actually post this on I'm gonna post this in my stories for y'all. Nissan right here. Repo, $23,000. How much was my payments? It don't say how much my payments were because it had already charged off. But this was from 2012 when I was working on my credit. I'm telling y'all, this is my real life. And so as I go back and I tell you guys, the reason entrepreneurs are going broke is because they don't want to go to work. They don't want to lower their ego. They don't want to go and bet on themselves. They don't want to do any of the hard work because they've created this facade like they really winning. I hid my car from the repo man for a year. I was living in hotel weeklies. I was sleeping on the floor on top of bath towels. I was living off of Flamingo and Swenson. For anybody who familiar with Las Vegas, they'll tell you that's the trenches. It's crazy how you mentioned not having the resources we have today, and people still aren't willing to make the necessary investments to get ahead. Absolutely not, Brian. If I wanted to learn about credit, I had to go to the library and read a book. I couldn't hop on somebody's live and learn. Sean said I was in the hood. Yeah, Flamingo and Swenson. I'm telling y'all, I probably got it on my credit report because I left a few months early. I moved a lot. I probably lived in about 8 different places in 5 years because I kept moving. See, I was willing to bet on myself. I didn't beg somebody to give me a handout. I didn't beg somebody to put me on. I didn't get mad when something didn't work. I just said, you know what? I learned something new to help me to get to the next level. And here's the reality. I know most of this probably doesn't mean anything to a lot of people on here or who's going to listen, because I know we live in a society where it's like, hurry up. I need it now. I need it now. Will fix my credit in 3 days. I paid you money to be my mentor. I need to be rich and leave my job next week. I'm trying to invest in real estate. I need 25 houses that's going to pay me $500,000 a month in 90 days. And that is not real life. See, it took me 2 years to fix my credit. These are dispute letters. Deletion letter from Argon Agency dated August 4th, 2012. I'm talking like everything that I talk about, this is my real life. Let me see if I can find what one of my old credit scores were. From credit check total in 2012, my credit score was a 591. I got it highlighted right there. I'll post this in my stories. This was my real life, y'all. But I'm here today standing before you because I was willing to bet on myself. I was willing to invest in myself. I was willing to go through the trenches. I was willing to endure the pain. I was willing to lower my ego. I was willing to be coachable and teachable. I was willing to do whatever I had to do to get the information and get the know-how so that I can be in a position where I stand before you today. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they're going broke because they have an ego. They don't want to work. They want to blame everybody else. They want to find the easy route out. They want to burn the banks. One of your YouTube videos helped me jumpstart my credit from like 2018. Absolutely. I have one of the first credit videos on the internet that went viral. And so I share all of this not to impress you, but just to impress upon you. Your life is going to get worse until you decide to make a change to just deal with the pain. Because I don't know very few people who still winning like they were in 2022. Unless you got things in place to hedge your money, hedge your investments, hedge your income. And this is why I believe so much in the REI 90. Because here's one thing I can assure you. My business could stop today. People could stop investing and paying to be a part of my program. But because of the investments and the sacrifices that I put in place over the past several years, I will always make money. That is how you hedge your investments. I don't need no Airbnb arbitrage. I don't got to do like I I have real investments in place, and I chose to play in a market or play in front of an audience where I have 90% of people's attention who need what I have. That's why my REI 90 program will be one of the biggest real estate group coaching academies on the internet, because there are very few programs or curriculums or academies that teach you how to buy and hold for the future. So when I say, are you looking to get into real estate investing to leave your job, or are you looking to build a net worth? And until you understand that if you're not focused on your net worth, you will continue to be a broke entrepreneur. So Sean, make sure you hit me up. I will have somebody hit you today to get you set up. We even offer in-house financing. You can reach out to us and go to my rei90.com to get more information. You want to learn how to get into real estate? You want to learn how to stop being a broke entrepreneur? You want to learn how to increase your net worth? No, it's not going to come over time. No, I'm not promising you you're going to quit your job. No, I'm not. But what I can assure you is that you will get the know-how and your life will improve. That I can guarantee you. That I can assure you. So go DM me REI if you would like to get more information. I see the 7 properties you and we management own. I own more than that. I got 7 companies, fam. And we management doesn't own any real estate. So we management owns no real estate. We management is a financial educational company. It's not a real estate company. So we management can't own real estate. You don't commingle rental income with with real estate income. No, I do this the right way. I don't have a trucking company, a financial services company, a credit repair company, a eyelash business all under one LLC. I have companies that are specifically for real estate. I have a company specifically for my merchandise. I have companies specifically for my financial educational business. I have companies specifically for licensing. That's a whole nother ball game. I have a company specifically for government contracts. I don't even talk about that. Why? Because most people don't qualify to get government contracts. If you're not tied to companies who are already in that lane, y'all better stop buying these government contract programs. They just taking y'all money. That's a whole nother live. I don't commingle my funds. And I actually have a CFO. I let my accountant handle that. I don't have to know everything. I just got to know how to go find the best people. So government contracting authority is different. It's way different, coach. I know you do this at a high level that I can't even speak that language. That's why I just go and partner with organizations that's already doing it. Period. Yeah, Andrew, CFO. That's when like you can go to my website and see my executive team. I have CFOs on payroll. I have an attorney on payroll. I have a bookkeeper on payroll. Like we really do this. And that's where I'm trying to help you guys to get to so you can stop being struggling entrepreneurs. But it's not going to come overnight, because I just showed you my journey where it took me almost 10 years to get to where I'm at. And I didn't have half the stuff y'all have. Period. So DM me REI 90 if you're trying to get to that next level. And make sure y'all chime in on Fridays where we talk about financial Fridays. Again, I'm going to try to go live on Mondays and Fridays. Okay. Monday, hit me up, B. Mondays, Motivational Monday. And on Fridays, we're going to talk financial Fridays. We're going to talk about getting that money. And if you don't have your Barron's Dictionary on business and economics, you ain't really doing this the right way. Because half of y'all use the word asset and don't know what an asset is. Okay. But I'm going to post my credit report showing y'all my repo from Nissan, because I want y'all to see. I don't want y'all trying to say I'm capping. And I'm going to post this stuff to y'all because I want y'all to see, like, I really live the life that a lot of people are in right now. And I'm trying to show you how to get out of that. It's called Barron's Dictionary. You can go right to Amazon. Barron's Dictionary of Business and Economic Terms. So when I'm giving you guys terms, these are not Will Roundtree's terms. This is economic terms. This is what I say. If you don't know economics, you're going to be poor forever. Because it's not about making money. I know a lot of people that make six figures and they broke at a high level. You got to know economics. Go to Amazon. So with that being said, appreciate y'all. I will see y'all on Financial Fridays. Make sure you hit me up if you want to get more information about REI 90. And until then, I'll see y'all at the top. Let's go get these assets and these investments and hedge our money. Let's go.